Dawson Rider Wiki.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here. This is going to be my review for the deluxe Dino Fury Morpher from the new Power Rangers Dino Fury series. As you can see, it's a wrist-based Morpher, and what comes with it is one of our Ryu Souls, or the Dino keys we're getting here. I will be comparing it to the Japanese version here at the end after we do the normal sounds. Real quick, I'm going to cut away just to taking a look at the box, just because I like to check out the box at the beginning of every series. So for the box here, you do have a bit of open packaging where the Morpher obviously was, and really cool art on there. That is one thing I've enjoyed about the Hasbro boxes, is they have really cool art on there if you're into saving the boxes or whatever and stuff like that. And the general style reminds me a little bit more of old school Power Rangers packagings, and you got the art there as well. If it would focus on it, there we go. And then on the side and on the back, you have this kid that is so smudge and arrogant. But now let's talk about the main thing. First, let's talk about the key, shall we? It's obviously taking a very different approach from the Ryu Soldier one. While it's the same general look of it, it doesn't have the folding gimmick, or it doesn't look like a little minifigure that folds into a mouth. Again, we'll compare it in a minute. And it does look rather cheap. It's received a lot of backlash, understandably in a lot of ways. I know it's a kid's line for sure, but I could definitely see how them going the more Ryu Soldier direction would have been more appealing. That being said, on the positive side, I really like the look of this like sticker here. Not in terms of like the sticker looks like the highest quality sticker, but in terms of I just like the art on it. I think it looks cooler and more detailed than what we get on the Ryu Souls, which end up kind of all blending together. So I think that's kind of neat. I think if we had little minifigures like this, that would be cool. And I kind of like the holographicness of it, and I like the kind of gold border around here. Like, it's not as cool as you would think, but I didn't end up hating it as much as I thought I would. I kind of think this little adorable dino head back here is well adorable, but yeah, I can understand it looks overall cheaper, but like I said, I ended up liking it a little bit more than I thought. However, I kind of wish that they would have included a more deluxe version with this that's more similar to the Ryu Soldier one, and then had these be with the figures, because it's understandable they'd want to save money by including something cheap like this, since they're going to come with the figures, as opposed to including a full-on Ryu Soul. But like I said, that could have been easily solved by them including these versions with the figures and then a more deluxe version elsewhere. But it is what it is. As for the look of this thing, honestly, it's fine. Like I said, we'll get to the comparison in a minute, but the real only difference is it's a little bit size difference, and this is a little bit darker here. But I think look-wise, it honestly looks fine. It doesn't look like the most absolute high-quality thing of all time, but I think it looks accurate to the show. It doesn't look too cheap, and I think that it'll fit most people's purposes. And I think the dark red here actually looks kind of cool. I actually dig the dark red color of it. I like that the silver here on here actually feels more silver. It's not quite as good as the Ryu Soul Changer in terms of silver, but at least it's not a really dull, boring looking gray. It does look a little bit dull and cheap down here, but again, I think for what it is, it's not bad. And you do have at least this nice cloth strap as opposed to the sort of, you know, cheap plasticky, breaky ones that you usually get. Now, the sounds on this thing are kind of weird because I'm gonna go over them obviously, but the instructions aren't 100% clear on exactly what it wants you to do. Like, here's the instructions, there's the batteries, which made it seem like batteries weren't included, and I opened it up and batteries are included. But like right here, it shows you the stuff you can do with it, with the sounds and the key and stuff, but it's not like the Beast Morphers one where it's got clear different modes. It's a little bit different. So right here on the back here, the first mode is kind of like a try me mode, where you'll press this, and it'll just kind of play the jingles for a long time. Shmonly? There we go. And it'll stop. And it kind of goes through all the different sounds. Like, it even has the sound at one point for when you pull the key out. So that's kind of like a try me mode. And you kind of just get an amalgam of all the sounds. Now, here is the regular on mode. So for this one, when you press this button, you'll get various sounds. And as you can see there, it lights up. Now, I do kind of dig the music for this, and I'll talk about that more in a second, but I do kind of dig the sounds for that. And it does also have motion sounds just like the Beast Morphers one, so when you go up and down, you get punching noises. It kind of sounds like he's punching putty. It's really, really sensitive. Like, I feel even more sensitive than the Beast Morphers one, but you have a distinct one for up and down, or I guess it would be out this way if you're, like, punching, and then side to side actually activates sword sounds, which is actually pretty cool. I like the way they sound. They kind of sound like swords and ninja swords going around. Now, for this gimmick, when you pull this down past a certain point, it'll activate this jingle. Now then you can pull it all the way around, and nothing else will happen. You can just kind of wait it out. Pretty badass elevator music, to be honest. Now, you can also, when you do it again, you'll get a different kind of jingle. Now, I must say, I really do like both of those jingles. I think they sound really cool. I get a feeling we're going to be getting a lot of MMPR ripoff stuff again in this season, but if the music was like that in the series, where it's very inspired by the rock of MMPR, but different sounding, that would be great. I don't know how much of an indicator this is going to be, but I would really dig that, because it feels like an echo of MMPR, but not exactly trying to rip it off. Now, you can activate some slight variations when you activate it, and then activate the motion sounds. And it'll make different motion sounds. And it'll kind of make that fading out helicopter noise. Same one for this. Now, my whole thing is, I'm not sure what the morph is supposed to be. I've messed around with this thing all day, and I can't figure out exactly what it wants you to do. Because you can activate this, and then stop it with this, like let the jingle go. And that could maybe be the end of a morph. Or activate this. And that could be the end of a morph. I'm not sure exactly what it wants you to do. Also, before we use the key, I know you're probably waiting, why isn't this idiot putting the key in? Just wait a second, just hold on. Patience! So you can also do this, and when you swing this around, it just kind of rolls right into the next one there. But you could hear that sort of similar clanging, like almost throwing a ninja star sound, that like, which actually sounds pretty cool. I kind of dig that. I'm not sure what the purpose of that is, but I dig it. But now let's put the key in. So you pretty much put it in like you would a Ryusoldier key. It's a little bit, not tougher to get in, but it just doesn't feel as satisfying. It feels really weird. And you do get that sound there, and the largest sound it changes is the motion activation. So it sounds like a Tyrannosaurus eating a cereal. That sounds more like a tiger. Come on, guys. But for the jingles, it doesn't change anything. Unless I'm doing something severely wrong. So, right here, you get this jingle, and there's no difference, except you get the Tyrannosaurus motion activation noises. And then what's interesting is when you put the key in, you only get this jingle. You don't get the second one. You only get the second one when you spin it around when you don't have the key in it. I don't know what that's about. This is like flying blind with the Morpher. And see, this will just run the clock out with no differences. So I will do an update video in the future if this becomes more clear, but that is all the sounds I could find and how to use them. I'll say that I think that the key, oh, I forgot to show the key taking out noise. Hold on, guys. Everybody stop. There it is. So yeah, like I was saying, I'll do an update video if it becomes more clear, but that's all the sounds I could find and how to use them. I'm not exactly clear on what the morph is supposed to be, even though I like the music. But now let's talk about comparisons here. So let's compare here. Here is our key here in America, and here is a Ryusol, the standard red Ryusol that came with the standard changer in Japan. As you can see, the differences here is this is much more of a sculpted little figure. This is a flat piece of plastic with a sticker on it. And then on the back here, you have this Tyrannosaurus head, which I presume you'll be able to put in the mecha in a similar way, which is kind of cool. And if they do have something different like this where they're different dino heads, it will be a little bit different than this, because as you went on with these, they all felt very similar. I loved the idea of the different helmets on these, but they never fully took advantage of it in my book. But they can look sort of similar from the back, except for this is a dino head and this is a human head. And then of course the major difference is this has the flip gimmick, where it becomes the little dino head and there's a little button here, and they flip just like Ranger keys. So as you can see, it's a severe downgrade from what you were expecting from Ryusoldier. There's the off sound. But like I said, I think what they should have done, personally, because I get why they did this. I mean, obviously to save money overall, but as I mentioned, I think it was because they're including these in all the figures. But what you do is you do what would probably still be a lesser version, but do a version like this, that it comes with the DX items, because, you know, it's a DX item, and then have the little lesser versions that come with the keys, because I kind of dig these to a degree, but they don't seem up to caliber for a deluxe item, so I can see why people are upset. Again, that being said, though, I like the general design of this far more than the design of this. Now comparing the two changers, here's the US one and here's the Japanese one. You can see this one is a little bit bigger. It's not that noticeable, but it's a little bit bigger. You can mainly tell around here it's got more bulk compared to here. Not skull, but bulk. And the plastic looks a little bit less cheap on the black down here. This has a light up button, this one doesn't. As you can see, the color difference, this is a much darker red, almost a crimson red, and this is a much shinier red. You do have a little bit of a darker red on the jaw, but this is for the most part a shinier red. You have shinier teeth. Again, that's not a huge deal to me. Honestly, if I was trying to save money and I didn't want to buy the Japanese version, the fact that this is a darker red isn't that big of a deal. And you still do have the gold paint there as well. And you know, there is some differences, but they're not that different. Like, it's definitely a difference you can tell, but it's not a life-changing difference like some of the other ones. And also, you do have the silver paint there, and there's actually a clear window here, whereas this is just a hole. And then you do have an actual nicer strap here. So this is of higher quality, and you do have different sounds with it, obviously, that go more towards the Ryusols. And the mechanism for using the Ryusols is a little bit more satisfying feeling. But overall, I'm kind of mixed on this Morpher. I don't think it's that bad. I think it's fun. I think kids will like it. I think I like the sounds of it. I think it has a decent amount of sounds. Like, once we get more sounds with these, if there's more differentiation, it might be about the same or even better, like sound robustness-wise compared to the Ryusol changer. But, you know, it is a little bit of a disappointment in some areas. You know, I don't like the lack of direction. I'm not exactly sure what the morph is supposed to be. I do like that there's not stupid voice sounds in it, like, you know, morph, let's go Rangers and all that stuff. I do think that was a nice added bit of playability for the Beast Morphers one, and I think that should have been something like 2 modes, like have a play, you know, voice command mode, voice command, and then, you know, a regular morph mode. But I do kind of like that it's dialed back a little bit this year. So I think at the base, it's a fun Morpher with some decent sounds, but it's not the best thing, but honestly, it's not that bad. I feel like people are going to crucify this thing because of this and because of some of the other things with it. For a base level Morpher, it's pretty decent for what I expected. Again, I'll do an update in the future if there's anything to be found in terms of how you're supposed to use it more specifically. But that's about it for this one, guys. Until next time, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you can get my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.